Rakakwadash.
I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say shalom to all the brothers, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your house. Today, man, we're going to talk briefly to you about good fame and bad fame. A lot of people want notoriety, money, and the things that come with it. All right? That's their motivation for getting up out of bed every day. And you know, fame isn't a bad thing if it's attached to something. And that thing it needs to be attached to is the Lord. You understand? We just talked briefly with the brothers before we cut the camera on. Moses' fame is good fame because it forces people to inquire of the goodness, the mercy, and the greatness and the majesty of the Lord. If you take out of that story, Moses probably gets arrested for murder in the story. Right. That's the same scenario. If you take the Lord out of all our forefather situations, they don't have that glory and that fame and that majesty. It's only good because the Lord is attached to it. That's what gives us value. And we were talking about, what's the guy's name? I forget his name. Anton Daniels. Anton Daniels. He's boasting in his riches, not knowing that that's a temporary thing. And it's going to fade away. And in order to keep those riches that he got here soon, he's going to have to bend the knee to this devil. But you got your precept or whatever you got.
With the few, go Maccabees first?
Yep, and whatever you guys got.
First Maccabees 2:50. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers.
So he's giving a speech to his sons, and he's saying, be zealous for the Lord's way. That's be zealous for those things, and everything else will fall in place. Because they're going to get ready to go through some trials, resisting, which is our job in this time to resist. And because we're resisting, we're going to make ourselves a prey in this world. But we need to have a particular mindset as we go through that. Not the mindset of a man that's solely trusting in his riches. All right? And where moth and rust doth corrupt, like it says in Matthew 6 chapter. You got it? Let's just read a couple examples, just a couple of our forefathers, and then jump down to 61.
Okay, verse 51. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall ye receive great honor and everlasting name.
Great honor and an everlasting name. So fame and recognition isn't a bad thing if you're pursuing the Lord to get it. All right? If righteousness and judging righteous judgment in the forefront of your mind and fame comes with that, okay, that's good. All right? But somebody who's going about to get that notoriety and that fame and that recognition without the main ingredient, you're going to be tied into wickedness to get it. That's just the equation. You got something you want to say?
God, I got a quick one for you. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 1. It says, a good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth.
See, when you have this mindset, you're good. Go, speak on it.
God, I'm going to read it again. Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 1. A good name is better than precious ointment. And that's the thing, man. And how do you, as the priest is going, and so that's ultimately what matters at the end of the day. A man of the Lord that comes to mind is the prophet Daniel. All right, the angel has says that what? You are greatly beloved, right, in the heavens, man. Daniel had a good name. You see, and he wasn't worried about the reputation, right, of how he looked in the sight of society. Right. He was worried about how he looked in the sight of Yahweh Shema Shah and the host of heavens, man.
He wanted his credit to be good with Yahweh Shema Shah, not this devil. All right, the scriptures talk about we gotta seek to offend the Lord less. Yeah, that's your mindset, man. You're gonna be all right. I got that word fame in the Edom Online, and it says this: character attributed to someone, celebrity, renown. And that word renown makes me think of our forefathers, the sons of God in Genesis. They were men of renown against that way. You understand? All you had on that?
Oh, that one, God. Yep.
Okay. You can go back to that, and I know this brother got some more precepts. I got a few of mine as well.
First Maccabees 2:52. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness?
Yeah, he had faith, and he walked in that instruction that the Lord gave him. He was willing to do something most people are like, this nigga crazy.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, nigga, you tripping. First off, he just up and left his family because he heard a voice.
Right, faith, man.
Then he was willing to put his only son, the son that was, that was a miracle, baby. Man. He was willing to put him to death because the Lord told him to do it. He was willing to follow instruction and walk in obedience regardless of how people viewed him. Go on.
Verse 53, Joseph in the time of distress kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt.
if the Lord isn't involved with Joseph and his story, our line is cut off. We starved to death in the wilderness.
What?
The Lord put the spirit on his brothers to sell him into captivity. He went into captivity. Somehow got raised up to second in Egypt in the world power at the time, so he could be a safe haven unto his family line.
Right.
You understand, if the Lord isn't involved in your endeavors, you fail. It's short-lived. It doesn't amount to anything, special, or something that's going to be everlasting fame. Michael Jordan, if his kingdom was to continue on, 100 years from now, who knows how people will perceive him?
Yep. Damn. Real
His
talk.
fame on this side it's fickle.
Yeah, his fame is empty.
Yeah.
You're still empty inside.
Yeah.
You void of something because you have the spirit of you. Like the brother said, fame and the spirit, having your how about your Shad, that's complete. If you don't have that, you're gonna have the money, but you're gonna feel empty inside,
That's what it is. You can read like one more of those examples and then jump down to 61.
Verse 54. Phineas, our father, in being zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood.
Yep.
Jump down to verse 61. 1 Maccabees 2:61. And thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome.
So if your trust is in the Lord, you can't lose. And that's what we got to keep in mind as we get ready to go through our struggles. Because the righteous, the scriptures say, we're going to suffer straight things, but we're going to have hope for the while. These people are going, like y'all was just going into over there. People are going through things and catching hell, but they don't even have nothing the gas in the tank to push through and keep going,
right.
Because they're not looking for the kingdom of heaven to be established. We are, which allows us to move completely different and have a different level of endurance through affliction and adversity than any of these people could ever have. You understand?
Hey, because the God of this world is still dangling that carrot in Jake's face. The Lord snatched us from that. So that carrot that's being dangled in Jake's face or the world face, put there with success, generational wealth, add anything you want into the carrot. That's what got the people blind and following after that. The Lord snatched us from that. Now our minds became illuminated, enlightened to what's going on. You see?
I got one for the elder one time. Proverbs, upon that which is not, for riches certainly make themselves wings, and they fly away as an eagle toward heaven.
The American dream. You got it.
It's like a bar of soap, man. You try to squeeze onto it, it's just gonna slip out your hand. If that's your main focus, you're gonna end up not having it at all, and it's gonna end up being empty, unfulfilled. It ain't gonna be worth. You understand?
Yep.
Riches are not coming to a nigga. You have to have order in your life, and not just any order. The order of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. You got yours.
God, this is the book of Hebrews, the 11th chapter, and when you go into this chapter, it speaks about some of our.
We read it first, Maccabees. Brother chapter. It's the brother chapter. Go ahead.
God, Hebrews 11:20. When he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of the Most.
Now check that out though. Now back then, to be a ruler back then meant you had great substance. Right now, and especially here in a democracy, people don't want to see their politicians or presidents with too much money. Mm-hmm. So they got to do it back ways. They got to do it backwater ways. Back then, man, if you were second in Egypt, man, you had everything. The world was your oyster. Everything was at your access. That life didn't get better. Yeah. So for him to give that up,
right?
Your nigga talking about his condo on the 17th floor.
Wow.
A Porsche.
Yeah, a Porsche.
Anti-Daniel's talking about a Porsche.
Nigga, Moses had dominion over the infrastructure on how society was ran. Right. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. Excuse my Swahili.
Right.
What the fuck are you talking about? Real riches and dominion and sovereignty. Moses had that, man. Okay? And niggas are boasting in a car they got to feel like they somebody. It's really insecurity when you bring up carnal things to say, this is my importance, this is my worth. Look, this is equivalent to my worth. No, we understand that the only thing that makes us useful or gives us worth is our usefulness to the mission of the husband. Right. A wife's value is tied to how well she forwards the will of her husband.
Wow. Yep.
And if you don't understand that, man, you're gonna be miserable. here. That's, breaking news.
Yeah, just what,
Simple
right.
niggas.
Hey, that's why Scripture says we have this treasure in earthen vessels. Talking about this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All right, the breath from Yahweh Shema Shah inside of us. So we have the true riches. Because at the end of the day, like the priest was going into earlier, man, in order for you to keep your so-called pseudo riches on this side, that's going to ultimately cause you to be an enemy against Yahweh Shema Shah by getting that charagma, that Revelation 13 and 16, man. You know, so
it's like it. You gonna have what's the 50 Cent said this. I know you niggas, y'all like to listen to rappers. Sometimes they'll say something decent. 50 Cent said, man, if your main motivation is money and the flashy shit, you gonna do some hoe shit.
man.
He went into it. He said, if possessions is your main motivation, man, you gonna do some shit that a hoe would do. You'll bend over a desk. Your morality, it doesn't have any bounds to what you'll do to get it. And a nigga like you, if you was presented with the opportunity, man, a lot of those rappers was presented with, you'll do the same shit over some goddamn money, man. Because your God is mammon. You don't serve the God of the Bible. Go read Matthew the 6th chapter, you simple nigga. Say you believe in the scriptures, but you don't move like it. You don't talk like it either.
Man.
You're just like this damn devil.
Yep.
You know?
You say ye are your
father the
yep,
devil.
yep.
Simple ass nigga. Goofy ass niggas, man. It's hard to even listen to them.
Yep.
Because they really think they have some kind of light or wisdom, but you have none. You're gonna have to die here and be reset in the kingdom of heaven that we're advocating for. Okay?
If I could add just real quick, Jake, boasting in his money and, flashing his money and got wads of, fiat currency holding up to like he's talking on the phone or something. Really, the reason why Jake does that is really because Jake is insecure.
Yep.
Because they know without that money that they know that they're just pieces of shit, man. They don't have anything that they really stand stiffly for. Yep. See, we do. That's why we're not moved by money. Some of us have, more than others. Some of us have, a savings account. Some of us, we ain't got too much. But at the end of the day, all right, we still understand that we're men. We're men on a mission. And these particular earthly so-called riches, that doesn't predicate our value, man. Our manhood,
Yep. And I'll say this as well, man. The reason we're not insecure like a lot of these people in the world is because we know who we are. We know what our purpose is. A lot of these people, they don't know who they are. They don't know what their purpose is in the world. The scriptures tell us our purpose.
Man.
All right, the will of the husband, man. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. We know the Lord presented us with His knowledge. We're supposed to be out here, trying to bring it out and advocate for the kingdom of heaven, help wake up the elect, things of that nature.
Yep.
Okay, your purpose is this one day, is something else the next.
Mm-hmm.
One of the brothers put a quote in the chat the other day. They said, "A man that doesn't have purpose distracts himself with pleasure." And that's what you niggas are doing. If I could just get this money, then maybe people will appreciate me. That's what it is. Think about why is somebody chasing money, a car, all right, want to look a certain way to people. Maybe they'll love me if I have this. Maybe they'll appreciate me if I have this. You a bitch.
Yep. Included. You want to be included and accepted.
Yeah.
You got more on that? You got
more?
Okay, more. Yeah, you good. Now you make the point.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be appreciated, but you gotta. Who should you be wanting to be appreciated by? Is the question.
Right.
See?
Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 25. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of the Most High than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt.
Ooh, spiritual wealth. See, the wealth we're about to receive, money can't buy you. This devil's trying to achieve immortality, raping people for their resources and his money, but he can't buy immortality.
Yep.
He can't buy being able to venture off into space and learn and just forever do things. He can't buy, he can't buy those things that we're about to, manipulation over the elements.
Right.
He can't buy spiritual power. You understand? The things that the Lord is going to give us day one, off a rip, as we're taking up into the chariots. Money, all the wealth in this world can't buy you. Our starter pack is worth more than all the riches in this world put together.
Yep.
And ain't nobody balling like Solomon was.
Exactly.
You know, and why was why was he so famous? Ultimately, what made him famous? Really, him praying for that which pleased the Lord.
First Kings 3 at the bottom.
Yep.
Where after he did the judge Salakia. After he did the judgment with two of his concubines, because one of them overlaid their child, and they was doing the he said, she said. You know, picture two nigga women they was arguing. No, this my baby. You know, a child support case. They be in there arguing.
Big time child.
And yeah, that's what was going on. And it's, everybody probably sitting in all this counselors sitting around listening to the argument like, oh boy. Yeah. And Solomon said this at the bottom. Go ahead.
1 Kings 3:28. The last verse, right?
Yeah, it should be like last two verses.
Okay, last two verses.
Where he said divide the baby in half.
Con. 1 Kings 3:24. And the king said, bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, divide the living child in two.
So again, I'm going to give the story real quick. Two of his wives, they were both pregnant, and they both gave birth the same day. All right, and they were the only witnesses there. One of them overlaid her baby, and the baby died. So she was like, oh shit. And she switched the baby.
Right.
You know, remember, this is the king's baby. Right? So her status is going to elevate by having a living child. So this was important to them. So she switched the baby and then tried to play it off. No, this is my baby. I don't know what she's talking about.
Right.
So that was the he said, she said case. And King Solomon said this. Read it again.
God. 1 Kings 3:25. And the king said, divide the living child into two.
Keep going.
And give half to the one and half to the other.
Now, when he said this, you know, the mighty man that's with the king, they probably unsheathed the sword.
They're like, wait. But then he spoke. You got to, you know.
He got to follow the order. So the two women are sitting there. Now, this shows the level of psychology King Solomon had. Yeah. He understood the inner workings of a person's mind.
Hey, and that wasn't the law.
Yeah.
He made a spiritual judgment.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You got to make spiritual judgments, man.
Yeah.
You got it.
So keep going on in that same chapter. The point is in the last verse.
It says, verse 25, and the king said, divide the living child into two, and give half to the one and half to the other. Then spake the woman, whose the living child was, unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son.
He understood that the true mother would rather see the child live and watch him from afar than to see him die. So he knew, you know, he would be able to tell who the true mother was by making that decree. He wasn't really gonna cut the baby in half.
He said that to get a reaction.
Yeah, to get a reaction.
Let me see. Okay.
The same way somebody will walk by, we'll see they got sugar in their drawers, and we might say, "Hey man, the Lord gonna destroy the alphabet community," just to get a reaction. Yep. Maybe and us making that person feel convicted might get them to repent or mark themselves, you know. But in the last verse on that,
it says, verse 26 again. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, let it be neither mine nor thine, but divided.
If I can't have it, nobody will.
Right.
But go on, he gonna make the right judgment. Go ahead.
Verse 27. Then the king answered and said, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof.
All right, it's the last verse.
Yep, last verse. Verse 28. And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of the Most High was in him to do judgment.
So the priest made the point that the reason his fame is so solidified and so big and lasted all this time throughout the ages is because his wisdom was attached to the Lord and what he asked for. Top of that chapter, he asked not for riches, long life, or the head of his enemies, but for a wise and understanding heart so that he could judge this so great a people. And because that was his mindset, because forwarding the husband's will was his mindset, the Lord gave him all of it.
See?
That's the pathway.
Got you right here. First Kings 10:1. And when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon, because that's what we've been going into is the fame, and once again, how did that fame get obtained? All right, unto Solomon by him asking the Lord for wisdom, man. So that's where the true riches lie at. That's where the true fame and reputation comes from. It comes from Yahweh Bashmal Shah.
I think he said it I think he had a dream. He asked in a dream.
Yeah, he asked in a dream.
You know, that's crazy. Yeah, right. Man, bro.
And the Lord sealed his instructions to do that.
Exactly.
You know? 1 Kings 10:1. And when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord Yahweh, she came to prove him with hard questions, because she knew that he had that spirit of discernment and judgment upon him, you know, as the priest is going into.
To see if it's true.
Yep, and that also, this also is another proof, right, that King Solomon is Yahweh Shah. Because when Yahweh Shah was sitting in the midst of the Pharisees and the lawyers, and you know, in Luke the 2nd chapter, you know, he was answering all their questions, man. You know, 1 Kings 10:2. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train, with camels that bear spices, and very much gold and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him out of all that was in her heart. And Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king which he had not told her. My point in getting that is because this is what, you know, a true reputation and fame looks like, man.
Right.
All right, you cannot have, you know, the proper fame and reputation, all right, like the priest is going into, without Yahweh Bashmal Shah being attached to it. And then we're behind enemy lines. You're a prisoner of war, Jake. You're paying taxes. You're on child support. You're drinking fluoridic water without your control. You got to go to these grocery stores. All right. Okay. You say for instance, you do buy you a Porsche. Well, guess what? First, you got to pay taxes on it, and guess what? Esau can take that from you anytime he feels like it, even if that thing is paid off, right? In the FEMA, right? In their executive orders, whenever a state of national crisis is declared, all personal vehicles become the government's at that point, man. So here we don't have nothing, man. The only thing we have, once again, is this treasure inside of earthen vessels, man. And the Lord's going to get his men fame on this side. While Jake is trying to get famous in captivity, the true fame is going to come unto the prophets that's been standing stiffly for the Lord, man.
Right.
And that's spoken of in what, Zechariah?
I got it right here.
Okay, yeah, you got it.
Yep. This is Zephaniah 3:19.
Yep.
Let me read it for you.
Okay, come.
This is Zephaniah 3 and 19. 3 and 18.
That's an old
Right.
one there.
You want to bring it?
No, you got it. I got one of a
3
sample.
and 18, it reads, I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly.
Right, and who's that the Lord is gathering? He's gathering the elect, man. All right, because this is that solemn assembly. All right, we're being gathered together by the word. And see, Jake is in the spirit of mirth, the spirit of partying, eating, drinking, giving into marriage. All right, planting, buying, selling. All right, they're not sorrowful, man. You see, the Lord, this is a solemn assembly, man. This ain't, we're not over here to play with you people, man. All right, we over here to get the hell up out of here. This is why the decree was put up on us men of great millstone by our heads earlier this week. All right, brothers, put up curses up on this place, man. You see, that's the spirit Jake should be in, man. But see, all these niggas, they got this condition called Stockholm syndrome, man. They've been institutionalized. Esau beat any type of sense of nationality or pride out of them, man. Dignity, man. Self-respect. Jake ain't got no self-respect. That's why he'll get behind a desk and you know, do all types of vile things unto this devil just to get a little crumb, man.
That's why the red one, the sexy red one.
Yeah.
Thing one.
She'll go to elementary
Not sexy
school
red.
and shake her ass, shake her yeast coochie all around a gymnasium full of little kids, knowing that she's cluttering the minds of little girls. She's okay with doing something like that because she has no self-respect. She has no dignity, no standard that she lives by. So she's willing to exhibit self-destructive behavior because she doesn't have this order. Her life isn't attached to the way of the Lord. So her fame is bad fame. She's famous for being a whore. You understand? Go ahead. And
that's why Scripture says to take good heed unto your name, because your name goes before your actual physical presence, man. You know, like, you know, you may because your name lives after you die.
A name comes with a spirit.
I got one.
You understand? Like the priest is going into.
Proverbs 22:1. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold.
Yeah, that's good.
Proverbs 22:1.
And once again, who wrote Proverbs? Solomon.
Exactly.
And he knows about this, man.
Proverbs 22:1. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches.
So that's what Jake should be seeking after, man. Is a good name, all right, coming from Yahweh Bashmal Shah, having a reputation in the heavens, not having a good name on this side, all right. Jake want to be promoted on his job, get a good name, get a good reputation. But once again, all right, in order to have a come up on this side, you got to be a dick, man. You gotta be committed to wickedness. Satan, you got to be a Satanist, man.
A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches.
Wrap your mind around that. Great riches, not just riches, but great riches.
Not a Porsche and a condo.
Yeah.
That's not great riches.
Yeah. And so this is why you see the Spirit, is upon our apostles, our bishops, our elders, and us Akim, and Lord willing, it stays upon us to do what? All right, to do the work of the Lord. Because believe it or not, all right, this is what's building us a great name. Right? Because what man in his right mind doesn't want a good name? What man in his right mind doesn't want to be famous? Like the Lord built every man, all right, with that desire to want to be famous. But there's a particular way you got to go about it, man. Yeah. And this is the way you go about it.
He put it in us to want to be appreciated. And in this world, the foreseeable way for a little child, people that are on TV, people that have recognition, these are the people that are appreciating the world. So I want that. Yeah. Back in the ancient world, there was particular soldiers and warriors that wanted that fame of being a great warrior, but men were more concerned with having substance so they could provide for their family, so they could be a safe haven to their families. But that's not even a priority in this society. In this society, it's money. It's the shiny stuff.
Yep. Right. The shit that tarnishes. Real quick. Proverbs 22:1. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. The rich and the poor meet together. The Lord is the maker of them all.
Man, what does that mean? The rich and the poor meet together.
Right.
At the end of the day, everybody gonna be laying 6 feet in the ground, man.
All spirits returning to the Father.
Yep. The righteous and the wicked to the grave. Right, and your spirit goes back to the spirit world. You see, right. And a lot of people have sold, like Yahweh Shah said in Mark the 8th chapter. All right, what does it gain a man if he gain the world and lose his soul, man? Yeah.
Would you rather be a man of the Lord teaching on the highways or byways, or you'd have that reputation, or RuPaul's reputation?
That's
what I'm saying?
Yep, that's true. Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah. He's noticed. He gets notoriety. He has access to particular things. All right, but is that what you really want?
Yeah.
Or do you want your reputation and what you stood for to be squeaky clean?
Yeah. That makes sense. I'd rather get the money and wisdom rather than having money and no wisdom.
Yeah.
You're just a fool at the end of the day. If you got all this money with no wisdom, you just the guy that's on the ground laying in a bum. Yeah. You ain't got no sense, man. Because you have to understand, you ain't been chasing riches. It is the Lord that maketh you. Watch this. 1 Samuel 2:7. The Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. So at the end of the day, it all goes back to the reason why bums are bums, because the Lord put them there.
He put them in that situation.
You see? Then it said, he raises up the poor out of the dust. Remember you said something, Moses, he gave Moses, he was ruling over like a...
Moses was second. He was up for contention of being Pharaoh. He had access to everything in his society.
Right.
He was over infrastructure, how society moved and ran.
And you could tie it with that. He raises up the poor out of the dust. You see?
He took Moses from being a immigrant baby to
swallowed him in the cloth.
And took him to the top. That's the Lord's call.
David,
same thing. Mm-hmm. Joseph, same thing.
So it's
Daniel, in the Babylonian captivity, same thing.
What about Adam? Before Adam had the breath, he was,
man.
But until Adam got the breath, the Lord, was supping with him, told him, okay, do this, do that. Right, you have dominion over all the works,
Yeah, he became ruler in Eden.
Yeah.
See?
You know what I mean? Come on, man.
He raises up the poor out of the dust and lift up the beggar from the dunghill to set them among princes and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set them up, and he has set the world upon them. Yep. So if you got a power that set the world upon pillars, and you up here trying to chase, y'all don't have a clue, man. Like the brother was saying, rather chasing Yahweh by Shema B'Shai and riches versus just chasing the world, it's the better thing that's happened to any Israelite, man. Yep. You won't have the fame behind what you're doing right now. All the riches and everything gonna come after that, man.
Yeah. And also when you get, that fame and reputation, all right, that's noticed by Yahweh by Shema Shah, all right, well, that cannot be tainted. But when you get fame and reputation on this side, it'll be tainted. Prime example, look at Bill Cosby. He was once known as America's father, America's dad, man.
Now he a fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Freaky ass nigga.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He was once famous, you know, for his good, you know, acting skills, you know, his, you know, making people laugh. But now he's famous for a devious thing.